In a world full of noise, two giants decide to speak. Devin Dubuc, 6'4", John Hinks Jr., 6'8". Standing tall, thinking bigger. Real stories, real strategy. No fluff, no filter. From the trenches to the top, this is where mortgage pros come to grow. Because when giants talk, you listen. Love it every time, man. Every single time. You know what?
That was a great intro.
Yeah, right? Giants are talking today. Speaking of, if you guys have been waiting for John and I to come back, we apologize. We had some technical difficulties the last couple of weeks, but we are back and in action. We will, full disclosure, next Friday, unless we can do it from the cruise ship.
Which would be amazing.
Which would be cool. We might figure that out because I've got the equipment. So we'll see if we got the bandwidth out there in the deep blue ocean. John and I will be heading down to the Bahamas with a whole group of us, man. It's gonna be good stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I'm kind of thinking we wouldn't even be on the boat by then, but we can do it by the boat or something like that. I mean, I'm pre-gaming before we even get on the boat.
I love it, man. I love it. We're gonna figure it out. We'll figure it out. So to be continued. We'll get back to you on that one. Yeah, maybe we'll have the boat episode. Maybe we'll just we'll record one on the boat for the following week, right?
Was the technical difficulty that we had last Friday me throwing line into the water and trying to catch fish? I can't remember what it was. I think it was something like that.
It was for good purpose, man. It's a family trip you take every year, spend time with your brother, and there's good reasons for that, right? There's good reasons. So, but between all that and between you and I today, John, we've got another giant we're bringing in today, and that's Chase Mason. Yeah, man, Chase, I am so excited to have you on the show today. You really are doing some big things, and you've got a cool background too. Share a little bit about your background because you're in mortgage, but that's not the only thing that you've done. You are a real American hero. Tell us about that.
that might be a stretch there a little bit, but I appreciate it.
Hi, Chase.
My background, I started out, I was in the Marine Corps, served the military, and then I transitioned over and was in law enforcement. I was in the Secret Service for over a decade as well. So I've always been about service, finding a different way. I know it's quiet. Don't tell anybody. But no, again, I like serving. I like helping give back to the community. Where that could be nationally, it could be a neighborhood, whatever. And again, I've always been a numbers person too. So again, I just serve now in the mortgage industry, and it works well for me, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. I don't work at all. I do this for fun. I do mortgage stuff because I actually enjoy it. I like talking to people. I like doing. I wake up and do math, which is kind of weird, but yep, that's just I've been enjoying any type of adventure that comes my way.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, today we're really here to talk about a great adventure and something really cool that you put on. We titled it "Fill in the Room with Real Estate Agents." I think that's just the shell. There's so much more than that in what we're going to talk about today. But one thing that I would like to say is oh man, I got my wrong set list. Give me John, help. John.
Well, no, Chase, I know you're going to start off on this. I'm personally super impressed with this because this is something Chase has been talking about for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was pulled off 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty amazing. I'm excited to talk about this today, to be honest with you, man. This is going to be really cool. I came back home from that event and that we're going to talk about and was just blown away, totally motivated. Like I'm still on cloud nine from it. And so I can't wait to get into this.
Well, me too. So let's talk about it. So here was my question, right? So there's a lot of loan agents out there would love to be able to fill a room full of agents, right? Maybe secret agents with you, Chase.
There might have been one or two of those there too, but I can't talk about that.
Going on. He was like the Secret Service. He was talking to his watch like this. Hey, the bars. We need more Jim Beam at the bar. Blah blah blah.
Well, the reality is, man, not a lot of people do it, right? So, what did you understand about putting together something on the scale that most people don't?
Well, that's a good link. So I used to do event security with the Secret Service, et cetera, for presidential events and so on and so forth. So I've done, 5-person events. I've done 500,000-person events. I've done Madison Square Garden while simultaneously screening Central Park in New York. Like we screened Central Park.
That's amazing.
Things like that. That was for the Pope's visit back in 2015 or something along those lines. So, again, so I've done very large events before. I've seen what works, what doesn't work. And while that's certainly not the case of what I was trying to do here, I did learn very easily the small things can make a big difference. Down like just the minute stuff of like, well, let's just make sure this matches over here or move this 1 inch over, whatever. Those small things can make a big difference on the experience that people have. And the experience is what people like, hopefully John feels today. Cause again, he was there. They talk about for days and weeks afterwards, those things come into play. So that was my thought process is I didn't want to put this together with a month or two out. I started planning this event 2 years ago. And I knew it'd be a long process to get it right. And I think we did a good job.
Yeah. Well, the buzz is definitely there because I'm here in Dallas. And where was the event again?
Charleston, South Carolina.
That's it, man.
That's where I live. Yep.
Yeah. And, I've had the pleasure of speaking to some people that attended, John, you were there, how'd Chase do? What was the experience?
Well, I mean, it was the most perfect example of leaning into who you are and how it attracts people. And, I mean, I think it's important for Chase to kind of explain what this event did and how he leaned into it and who he is and how it attracted all of these people. But I think that's what I got the most out of it is it was so natural and not forced. Amen. So it was just kind of, it was a mix of networking, a mix of a good cause, but it was also a huge mix of like a lot of heart. So it was just a cool that was the kind of energy in the air that night. Anyway, so that's what I got out of it.
Well, that was the thing. Before we got into the strategy, I wanted to set the scene, right? And so, what was the event? Who was it for? And what happened that night?
So the event itself, we called it the Bets for the Brave Gala. And the tie-in there was a casino-themed event, casino night that also benefited the Homes for Heroes Foundation, which I'm an affiliate of the Homes for Heroes organization. And, my background in the military, law enforcement, and again, they catered to both of those along with firefighters, healthcare, teachers, etc. But what I wanted to do was have a fun casino night themed event fundraiser for them. And there's multiple reasons for that. One, Charleston, or like a lot of places, rightfully so, have a lot of other types of events that go really well. There's tons of golf tournaments here, rightfully so. Again, people enjoy them, a lot of fun. I can't golf. I'm no good at putt-putt. I was like, if I put on a golf tournament, I won't know what they're talking about. So I didn't even want to start there.
That's not the right venue for you.
It's not the right, again, for me organizing it, I have no idea. I wouldn't even know where to start. But at the same time, it's also a little bit different for that aspect because there's not a lot of casino nights. State of South Carolina, there's no gambling at all. There's no casinos here. So again, while this wasn't gambling, if anybody watching from the IRS or anything like that, this was pure entertainment. But no, so again, it was something a little bit different that isn't done a lot around here. So again, it was just that extra little add-on. Let me put this out there and just see if somebody can enjoy this little something different. Awesome. But again, to benefit the Homes for Heroes Foundation, but from day one, what they do is they give grants to other nonprofits all over the country. This is a national organization. They go around to, different states and things like that, would give grants away to, organizations that help. They're more the boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And so from day one, I wanted to make sure that we gave away at least one, if not two of those grants at the gala. So people can see that we're benefiting the Homes for Heroes Foundation, but also see their money working right there locally. Because, some of those, so we were able to give away 2 grants that night to 2 Charleston organizations.
That's
that
awesome.
brought in more people from those teams, et cetera, more people to come support it. So again, it was just the perfect tie-in my opinion, to give back, be part of something that I'm passionate about. Again, in my background, and have a lot of fun doing it. Again, I wouldn't do well at a golf tournament, but a casino night, that kind of suits me. I like playing craps and blackjack and have a little bit of fun with it,
Well, Devin, a lot of what we teach in Cageless came from Chase. I'm not kidding. So Chase, when Chase started up with us, the old way of like the way we did business was, and Devin, you and I were part of it. Pick 40 agents, call those agents until they're absolutely sick of you and they'll finally get coffee with you. And it was a numbers game. If 1 out of 4 said yes to coffee, then 1 out of those 4 that you meet might send you a deal. So you had to put in 4 times as much work.
Yeah.
When Chase came in, he really wanted to find.
So we were literally chasing.
We were chasing. That's right. Chase didn't want to chase.
Taught us how not to chase.
Chase kind of taught me a lot how not to chase. It was one of those like, I'm going to build my database, and I want my database to relate to who I am. And he leaned in. He was not a Marine. He is still a Marine, right, Chase? You taught me that. So once a Marine, always a Marine. And then a lot of his, the common ground that he had with law enforcement, and then any type of first responder type service. And he was able to relate to that. So his marketing was the grassroots marketing. And it got to a point where that database that he built came to him for home loans. And then the next thing you know, he kind of reversed the role, and he was creating relationships with real estate agents because of who he was. And that turned into this event, which I can't wait to get into. But this didn't just happen.
Right.
Like this has been his business practice from the very beginning. And we swiped the heck out of it and was like, we're implementing this because we've always been looking for that secret button to how do we get direct to the database and not have to rely so heavily on the agent. And Chase showed me, right? So I don't know. That was kind of one of those things where when we were at the event, I was like, whoa, this is it. Like he pulled it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
To tie into that, it's not just like for this event, but like I even take realtors a lot of times skeet shooting or sporting clay shooting because I like to go shoot guns instead of a coffee meeting. Why have just that when I can go have some fun over here doing it and still have the same good conversations, but better experience, better relationship building with them. So I do that with realtors all the time. I do it with clients. I do it with anybody who wants to go shooting, actually. If you want to go, let's
go, Chase. I'm in.
But at the same time, again, that's my background. I was a firearms instructor with the Secret Service. I enjoy getting out and having some fun doing that. That's just my golf right there, And again, I try to find ways to relate that into, business too. It doesn't hurt to do some business at the same time, but why not have fun doing it?
Well, I want to transition through that a little bit because you opened up so many great secrets in there as to like how to find the right audience and how to have some captivation there as to why they want to spend time with you. The one word you use that I love is experiences. You're creating experiences. This gala was an experience, right? Going skeet shooting with your favorite lender, that becomes an experience, right? But more importantly, you're doing it by focusing on the things that you love. And those are the people that you're attracting to. You're attracting people to doing things that you love to do, right? And I think that's super special. Now, we talk about this big gala, and some people may be tuning in going, okay, well, that's why he got all these people there. He put together this massive gala, and it was for an amazing cause. But man, I can't do all that. And we can debunk that. You can, right?
But for sure.
Did it start with a massive gala, or have you done smaller events in the past?
Well, I started with the gala. This was our first event.
Just going all in.
This is the first one. I was like, well, you know what? My vision was like, I want to have a fun casino night. And I can't do that with 10 of my buddies dealing cards. Like that just doesn't work.
It's a good night, but it's not what you've put together.
Correct. So I was like, okay, I can go big. So, to your point, you absolutely can do something like this. This was our first one. I didn't start with, a bunch of friends getting together to raise money. I said, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I went for it. Now, I certainly, the execution was not just me. I mean, it might have been my idea to start with, but it took a team. I promise you that for sure. But at the same time, out there that will have your vision with you. I mean, we sold out on our sponsorship spot. We had 30 sponsors first year. And we probably could have had more, but that's where we stopped because that's where we set it to begin with. I already have plans for year 2. But the idea there is, you know what you like, who you are, and go in that direction. John was talking about he picked up stuff from me. Well, one thing I picked up from John is, 25% of people will love you, work with you no matter what. 25% of people will never work with you no matter what. That's just how, that's how it's going to be. Find the people that are in the middle that don't know who you are and that will come and gravitate towards you. So again, I put together who I am and put it out there, and hopefully some people come along. Some people didn't. And just like I said, 25% of people never will, but that's not the point. The point is be you, embrace that, and roll with it.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, and a lot of folks tuning in may or may not know this, but we've got two people here that put together some pretty big things, right? John, I'm going to lean into you a little bit because, the story I heard from you before I ever met you, I heard about you. You were like this myth, this legend, this magical Sasquatch, right? This 6'8" guy who had put together, a group of people to help children with special needs by building this amazing camp. And just like Chase just said, I'm pretty sure you may have been a big part of that and maybe the reason it happened, but there had to be a lot of people in between that helped you get there. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. Who you surround yourself with is what pulled that off. And as a matter of fact, you can put the people in the room and then all of a sudden they take off without you. And you're just there for emotional support. And I mean, we were very ground roots when we did what we did. I think, watching Chase do it, what was cool about that part of it was Chase was never the center figure, so to say. He was not the one on stage. He was not the MC. He was a little bit of the mythical creature in the background of like, who is Chase Mason, who put this on, and he did an amazing job of making sure that it was not about him. It was about the veterans and the nonprofits that we were trying to raise money for. And that was a little bit of the secret of my success with the camp that we helped build. It was always about the children. Yeah. But similar to Chase, it was my passion. I spent the majority of my adulthood serving children with cancer, and that turned into what we call Camp Cole now. And Chase has a passion for helping veterans.
That's right.
And so I've always been told passion is never enough. Execution and organization. I had people in my life that were very organized and very and had a good plan put in place, and we just took that energy and put it into there. But watching Chase's event, he surrounded himself with the right people. He truly did. And I think, can I say one of the groups was Real Producers, which is like a group of it's really a publication. It's a magazine. It's a publication, but the organization that's in Charleston does such an amazing job of building a community of real estate agents in Charleston. And Charleston's a hot area, man, like super hot. And I've never seen this before in my 22 years, was a real estate publication like that backing one loan officer because they believed in the project so much. And that was probably one of the more powerful things that I saw. And Chase did it with humility. Like, he literally was on the side, and they tried their damnedest to get him to come up and say something or be a part of it or whatever. But he was like, no. So it was.
I told them if they got me up there to speak, there wouldn't be a second year. I promise you. I was like, nope. I was like, nope. I'm good. Ruby, I'll wave my hand and call it.
That leans into a question that I had, right? So how do you go from this idea that you have, right, and transition to that into the mission, and then get the other people to buy in, right? We know there was a buy-in. That's what John was talking about. But how do we go from, I've got this idea and I think this is going to be special, right? To this is how I'm getting out there and promoting this and getting more people behind it.
Well, to start that off, one thing I might say is when you see anybody's event, not just mine, just any event, you got to keep in mind there is so much probably behind the scenes that you don't know about. For example, to start this off, to run a casino night in the state of South Carolina, the only way to legally do it is, again, it's entertainment only for anybody watching. But the only way to do that is through a nonprofit. Well, Homes for Heroes Foundation, I went to them 2 years ago. They love the concept. They're like, hey, we love this. We want to support it. This is fantastic. Obviously, we would love to raise some funds, etc. But they can't run the event. And the reason why is there's 3,000 affiliates nationwide. If they run one event for me, they'd have to run one for 3,000 people. So so the only way for me to still stick to my vision, I was like, hey, I still want to do this. How can I do it? I formed my own nonprofit in order to legally run this event. That took months with the IRS. That took costs. That took everything. But I was dedicated to do it. And again, I was like, I see this being something a little different and a way not just to stand out, but how can I serve better? Again, I've been service my whole life. So let me find a different way to serve in my industry. And I thought this was a great way to do it. So don't get me wrong, that's a large part of the 2 years is just waiting on the IRS and stuff like that.
You're saying our government doesn't move fast.
It's a little time consuming in some of those regards. But again, that's the kind of thing is, stick to your guns. You find something that works. Hey, I think this is working. I'm passionate. I want to make sure. Let me do that. And I got to tell you, I didn't have to sell anybody on it. That's the best part about this is because I just said, I'm doing this. Do you want to join? And some people no, some people, yes, here you go. And I didn't have to sell anything. I started putting the pieces together. And then again, I brought on, I talked to real producers. I talked to agents, that helped other affiliates for Homes for Heroes, anything like that. We started talking to sponsors and friends, and it snowballed because people wanted to get involved. They wanted something different too. People are searching for that. And I happily bring on anybody. And again, that's why I didn't want to talk. I was like, listen, this is us. I mean, my idea, but an idea can only go so far. Is how can I bring on anybody who's just as passionate about finding ways to do something different, and still give back and have a lot of fun doing it.
So I'm sorry. Speaking of different, Devin, the an exceptional event. And I've been to a lot of events, right? I've done the whole whatever. So the moment you walk in, you had people greeting you, you did the check-in, then you went to the next table to get your key to try to unlock a box full of cash, which was really cool.
That's my favorite part. I love that thing.
Yeah. And the key was sponsored by a big home builder here in Columbia, or here in South Carolina. They started in Columbia. And then, which is crazy in itself. They like jumped right on in and did this with Chase. And then you did a raffle to try to win a trip to Vegas. And then there's standing tables. You know how like you have the tables that you stand around. Everybody's dressed to the nines. It was, wear your Charleston's finest, Charleston floral colors, color everywhere. People wearing beautiful ties and dresses and whatever. And you go to the bar. It was a full bar. It was a full-on bar, and you get your drink. People are mingling. People walking around with food trays and stuff. But then when you walk around the corner, the lights and the ambiance of the whole casino floor was exceptionally cool. It was so cool. It was like the whole atmosphere. And on the stage, he didn't have a band that was like a band that was trying to like take over and everybody was doing the electric slide. He had like a jazz band. So a live jazz band that was like background music. And throughout the entire 4 hours of gambling, you got to see all the different silent auction bids. You got to see the different things that you could possibly get if your name got pulled out of the bucket, and just different little stations around, food stations around to eat dinner. I met more people that night than I've ever met, and you meet them because I'm rolling craps. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there rolling dice, and hopefully rolling a 5 or whatever it is.
A bunch of like-minded people.
Like-minded people, and it was so easy for me to just say, hey, I'm John, what's going on? And they would say their name. We hit it off, and you'd make friends, and people did not want to stop. So I think it was one comment was, how do you do a 4-hour event and 250 people show up and then stay all the way till the end? Well, that he mastered that. So like when they had the major drawing at the end, the same amount of people that were there 4 hours earlier were still there. Right. And it was just, the energy was really cool. I don't know, man. I really wanted to try to give a visualization of what this event was.
Absolutely.
The people running the different gambling stations were all super nice. Half of them didn't know how to count 21. I was having to count 4.
Must have been a new dealer. That's right.
But it was just fun though. You were gambling and hanging out and having fun. It was just, and you won fake money, and you took the fake money and you turned it into raffle tickets, and you tried to win a fishing trip or something like that.
Well, that's, to back up on the experience side. And again, next year we probably change a few things up here or there, but I want to make sure a lot of the raffle prizes at the end were experience based. A lot of times you'll go and you'll get some good product, good things to take home, and we have some of that too. But I had, a fishing trip. Actually, John helped out with a fishing trip on it, or a sunset cruise to bring, a bunch of your friends out on the boat at night. Again, these were some of the raffle prizes. Somebody won a 1-day car rental of a McLaren sports car. They get to drive a sports car for a day, a McLaren sports car. Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, it's hard. That's horrible. What are you doing? Yeah. So, again, those kind of things and I thought about from the beginning is like, how can I have the experience, go well past the event too? And that's
the experience after the experience.
Correct. And that's where I want to build that in. And again, we're just scratching the surface. I had numerous people come up to me that night asking, hey, or not asking, they were basically demanding, make sure I'm involved next year. They loved it. We had a great time doing it. And again, good cause, that was the whole point. We want to do it for a good cause, but just because it's for the right cause doesn't mean it can't be, a lot of fun. Let's make sure it's a great time for everybody.
Well, was there ever a point? Oh, sorry, Chase.
I was going to say, my favorite part was the lock and key game. I don't know why. My wife and I spent, a night with movies just putting hundreds of keys on key rings and stuff. Again, a lot of the work behind the scenes you don't see, right? But a lot of fun with that, where everybody's key went in, every key went into the lock, only one of it opened up, and you make turn. So that's it. But it's a lot of fun. It's a door prize, but it's a different.
It's another experience. It's an experience from the moment you walk through the door to the moment you leave. And if you won one of the prizes, which you probably had a great opportunity to do that with $30,000 in giveaways and prizes, the experience continued on after. And that's why you've got people that stay to the end. And that's why you've got people that are talking about it. And they're still talking about it, and they're going to be talking about it when they're on the experiences, So, this is such a grand scheme or scale scheme. My question is, at any point in time, were you walking around that room and going, wow, this is way bigger than I expected?
Well, to be honest, I didn't even realize the 4 hours went by. I got to eat zero of the delicious food, apparently, that everybody said was phenomenal.
I ate enough for you.
Yep. Thank you. The whole, again, I enjoy a good casino game every once in a while. Guess how many casino games I played? Zero. I got to do none of it. I didn't care. I was so busy, not busy. I was so much just having fun meeting new people and shaking hands. And, literally I was like, oh, there went 4 hours. Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. It was just a lot of fun doing it. And I can't wait to not play casino or eat food next time. So.
Well, what was the most meaningful moment of the night for you, Chase? After you took 2 years putting this together, right? You're in the moment. It's all happening, right? And, John's described it. We can feel it. We can be there with you, right? And you're standing there in that moment. And like, when was that meaningful moment for you that you're like, this is amazing?
I can tell you exactly. And it was actually on the earlier side. I invited a guest of honor, Medal of Honor recipient, Major General Livingston. He's a Marine Corps veteran from Vietnam. He lives here locally in the Charleston area, and he decided to come. I invited him, of course, and he decided to come to be the guest of honor. What I invited him to, I was like, listen, he does speeches all the time, to a lot of events, which is fantastic. I literally wanted another Marine there to just have fun. I was like, I would love to be my guest of honor, but you don't have to say anything. You don't need, I just want you to come. That's literally what I told him. And he said, absolutely. When he got there, he felt compelled to speak. That wasn't part of the plan. And I was like, who's going to tell the Medal of Honor recipient, no, you can't speak? Of course you can. He got up there and people were talking about just him talking, his inspiration, him talking to the crowd. It was phenomenal. Again, I happily welcome to that. But at the same time, I just wanted him to come have a good time. And he felt compelled to speak and put his wonderful 2 cents. And I mean, couldn't have been better. And I was like, man, that was powerful to me, goosebumps a little bit.
Yeah, I've never seen a room of 300 people get quiet so fast when he went up there and talked. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty like, okay.
He wasn't expected. It was great. I wasn't expected.
Well, one thing I want to segment, because you did very clear, the event was about service, and we know that, right? I mean, it's a good event. There's actually proceeds that go back to an amazing cause, right? But at the end of the day, we got to be honest. It created some business opportunities for you. How's
Sure.
that help
Yeah,
the mortgage
absolutely.
business? What does that do for you?
Well, again, the opportunities not just for meeting people that night, but I had real estate brokerages want to sponsor, and part of that is having those conversations well ahead of time, but also the connection with like real producers and things like that. Just that's why you team up with people. I didn't want to say, hey, this is my event. I wanted to say this is our event. How can we make this better for the real estate community of Charleston? And a way to have them understand. I had agents come up that night, didn't know about Homes for Heroes, and they can join if they want to. Again, I'm not trying to force that on anybody. The idea is here's some good info. Here's the ways you can serve. Hey, how can we do things together? What are you trying to do? What events are you want to do that I can participate in? I'll volunteer and check tickets at somebody else's event. The idea is how can we do this better together? And that's already happened. I have coffee meetings set up. I have a new sporting clay shooting meeting set up with a real estate agent. Again, they just find ways to piggyback on everything. Like just because it's for a good cause, I can also be for work and vice versa. And I think that's where people should always strive for is finding better opportunities that are more like focused on what they enjoy. So it's just easier conversations and easier ways to do things. But you can certainly gain some business out of it too. That's icing on the cake. It wasn't for that reason, but I'll happily take it. Right? Who would turn that down? But the idea is, make that be an afterthought. Let me do the right things, the right reasons, and business will follow.
Chase is a good example of good karma coming your way because he really does have a knack for making sure that, Devin, that you and I think alike, so many great opportunities out of this for Chase in the future. But what differs him from most is when those people reach out to him or when he reaches out to them, that meeting is going to be probably about how the two of them can collaborate together to bring value to more people. Right. And I think that's a huge example of. So first off, one thing that popped in my head when we were thinking about this is like a lot of people on the call might be like going like a gasp of air saying 2 years to plan this. But I think during the 2 years that Chase was planning this, how many relationships did he create during that 2 years planning this? And how many people did he get close with to do this? So, and then the second thing of it as well is on the aftermath part of it, there were, Chase doesn't know this, but there were people in the crowd that I was meeting for the first time and they didn't know who Chase Mason was, but they knew his name. Right. So they were looking for him. Right. And I was lucky enough to be the guy that was like, oh, I get to work with Chase. You know what I mean? Like I get to do that on a week by the week basis, but that's him over there with the red, vest on and walking around and sweating.
You like that vest?
Oh, yeah, I like the vest. It was a good vest. It was nice, but he spent the entire night trying to make sure that the event went as well as it possibly could. So hopefully next year he'll be able to at least play a couple of games of blackjack or something like that. We'll see. I will play, and I lost enough for both of us, so we're okay. I only had 2 raffle tickets at the end of the night.
But you had extra for everybody, so there you go. You got your food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it was fun.
I got to show in Chase we trust.
Oh, there you go. There's my business card.
I don't know if this was the money that was used at the gala, but I definitely got my hands on a little bit of it. But in case you're an experienced guy, and I wanted to share that, because you're doing it from your heart first, and I think that's. Because when you're doing things for the right reasons, like you said, John, people are going to come. They're going to be attracted to that. And when we go with our wallet or lead with and the ask, right, we're always asking for something instead of giving back. Well, you know what? That's not always going to work out the best for you long term. But when you get out there and you give, and bring other people in who have that same like mind that want to do the same, they're going to look at you as somebody of respect, somebody they can trust, somebody they want to partner up with. And that's how big things happen. So you filled a room with real estate agents, but it was so much more than that. You filled a room with an experience that people will talk about for years to come. And the best part about that is that it's not the only experience, because what I know, and John, you know this, and Chase, you know this, is that this is just this year's experience because there's a next event. When is that, man? When's the next event coming around the corner?
Well, it's February again next year. This will be an annual. Actually, that's a good point too, is when we started this conversation, again, the guys I was working with on it, Matthew and Ryan, we already started the conversations not as Bets for the Brave Gala. We started as the inaugural Bets for the Brave Gala. We knew the effort this takes is going to be an annual thing, and again, we're full force, in that direction. Can't wait. And talk about people wanting these type of things and stuff like that. I've had Homes for Heroes agents from other states reach out and say, hey, I want to put this together where I live. And of course, it might not work. Obviously, this wouldn't work for an agent in Vegas. Nobody's going to a casino night in Vegas, right? But the concept is there. The concept is what can I do a little different that for my market that just stands out enough, but at the same time, have a fun time, give back, serve others, and I think that's a great thing we should all strive for. And it doesn't have to be big; it can be small. I'm not talking about the size. I'm talking about just whatever your passion and focus is. Have a good way to present that.
Well, your 250 people gala could be a 20-person get together, right? But sharing something and experiences with others that they're going to remember long term, and they're going to come back. So again, if you're leaning into this and you're going, man, I can't put together, you can, but if that's not where you want to get started, that's okay. Just get started somewhere and, get on that journey to creating successes for others. And that in turn will create successes for yourself. John, anything else you want to say before we let Jace get back out there and save this world one gala at a time?
I literally cannot wait for next year. And Devin, you are flying in for that one next year.
I'm coming. I'll be there. Yeah.
I love it.
Front row. Well, guys, if you want to find Chase, and you should, go find him over at Facebook, chase.mason.75. I'm sure if you just put in Chase Mason and look for this handsome guy, you will find him there. And if you want to check him out on Instagram, go over to Mason Home Loans on Instagram and please follow. I'm sure he's posting stuff about these events that he's putting on. So if you want to be there or be a sponsor next year, they're already starting. So, they're always looking for great people that want to contribute. If you just want to go and be a part of this amazing experience,
come on.
Let's do it. Let's do it. And then, you can go to his website, masonhomeloans.com, masonhomeloans.com. And I've got a pretty good feeling that if this is what he does in his spare time, if you're doing a loan transaction with Chase, it's probably pretty epic experience. And, that's something that we want. When you are buying a home, which can be a very frustrating, stressful experience, working with the right person matters. And somebody that puts this much attention to detail into something on such a grand scale, just imagine what that would feel like becoming a new homeowner or a repeat homeowner with somebody that truly cares, right? So Chase, thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for taking the time to get passionate about helping others, and couldn't say enough amazing things about you, brother. I'm super proud to have you on the show. And John, what do you say, man? What do you think? Should we send this guy off with a salute?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Well gosh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And next time, maybe John can talk me to letting you know how I saved the president's life at the Super Bowl. That's a good story for next time.
Yeah, that's the best story ever.
That's the best story ever. That's what the people really want to know.
That's next story. Next time.
Yeah.
On the next time. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for turning into the Mortgage Giants. I'm Devin Dubuc.
Big John Hinks.
And we got Chase Mason in the house today, guys. So we will see you all on the next one, probably on a cruise ship somewhere. So take care, guys, and we'll see you then.